What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Black Coat Taco with another video for you guys. And I'm sorry for the lack of content. It's just my life is getting a little more complicated due to this whole virus crap. Seriously, everyone wear a fucking mask. Seriously. Make it easier on everybody and yourself. Just wear a fucking mask, go in, do your shopping, and get the hell out. That's all I'm saying. 15 minutes ain't gonna kill you. Trust me. Well, without further ado, let's get straight into this video. Uh, Basically, part of the plot that I've written for Sly 5 picks up right where I left off. Basically, we jump to the present day with Bentley and the gang. Bentley sitting at his desk, just he's just at wit's end apparently. He's getting more frustrated. He's not exactly obsessed. He's just tired and feeling like he's done all he can do to try to find Sly. Murray is just next to him, constantly trying to encourage him to keep trying. Dimitri's just sitting in the corner. He's like a few chairs away, sitting in the corner, listening to music. But he's not getting up and dancing like he normally would. He's just got his headphones in, just chilling. But you could still tell that due to Sly's absence, you could still tell he really wasn't truly feeling the beat anymore. So you won't expect him to go, "Woo, let's dance." You ain't gonna expect that from him. I know that. I'll put it to you that way. Then we move on further throughout the room, and we see Panda King and Jing King sitting at a table playing chess. Panda King feels like he's got the right move, but Jing King moves one of her pieces and says checkmate. Panda King is neither mad or upset that he lost that. The only thing he's thinking is, "Yep, that's my daughter, all right." That's literally what he was thinking. All of a sudden, Carmelita walks in through their hideout front door. Dimitri sees this and is shocked, because the first thing he saw on Carmelita was her badge. And he freaked out. "Ah, Alicia!" He's freaking out. He's frantically running around and running in place, trying to figure out where to hide, where he's going to go. Bentley looks over and sees how ridiculous Dimitri is looking and says, "Dimitri, sit your scaly ass down." Yes, he actually says sit your scaly ass down. That's how I have it written. I think that personally, the reason why I had that written is because I want a big change, a big leap. Well, not that big of a leap, but more of a small little leap into something a little more raunchy. As in, instead of an E rating or an E12 rating, make it a T rating for this game. For this game, or this game of Sly. Now Bentley tells him to calm his scaly ass down. Murray just grabs Dimitri and just forces him back down in his chair, telling him to calm down as well. And he just lets Dimitri know that it's okay, man. Carmelita's cool. Yeah, and ever since her little her epiphany, I would say in Sly 4, she's a little more lenient toward the gang now that Sly's not there. But it's only a temporary truce, I would say, because her duty is still to her heart and everything. She takes a few steps in. She makes eye contact with Panda King and says, "Didn't I arrest you?" Panda King, being the savage that he is, and that and the fact that he's gotten on in years. He replies, "Didn't you have a boyfriend?" And after that little comment, it was at this moment that Panda King knew he fucked up. Let's be real, y'all. He probably did. Carmelita doesn't take that comment very lightly. She immediately pulls out her shock pistol and says, "Do you want to go, old man? Because we can take this outside." Panda King gets up out of his chair. His hands spark a little bit. He ignites his hand. It's like, "Gladly." They're arguing back and forth a little bit what they're going to do to one another. And yeah, not like that. As in how hard. It's like, who's going to kick whose ass, basically. It's like Murray steps in. Jin King steps in. And Dimitri steps in. But most of Dimitri had one comment to just say to Panda King for what he said to Carmelita. "Whoa, that's a low blow. That's a low blow, dude. Severely not cool. Home Skillet. It's not cool, Home Skillet." Basically telling him too soon. Basically too soon. Jin King is just explaining to her father, Father, that's not nice. That was very rude. You know she's still hurting, just like all of us here." And let's just say Carmelita is going off on him and everything. It's like, "Seriously, old man." It's like, "You think I can't take an old man like you?" She cocks a pistol and everything. Everybody's yelling at one another. Murray holds Carmelita back. And then we go back to Bentley. Bentley is just absolutely livid. It's like he is literally steaming. Until he finally just couldn't take it anymore. He yells out, "Stop it, all of you! You're all acting like children. Do you really think this is what Sly would have wanted?" Everyone is in silence and in shock because they did not expect Bentley to ever raise his voice like that. They all look at each other with disappointment and realize that everything he just said was absolutely true. Sly would not have wanted that. If anything, Sly would have done everything he could to break the tension between everybody, with maybe one of his wisecracks to take the heat off of Panda King and onto him. Because he knows how to work Carmelita's attention and everything. After everybody calms down and gives off their sad vibes, Panda King mans up and apologizes to Carmelita, and vice versa. Bentley gets up out of his chair and starts walking to the very back of his lab. Yes, I said walk. He now has bionic legs. Seriously. He's got the intelligence. He's got a good amount of the Cooper fortune that was left behind in Sly 3. I don't think money would be really much of a problem. Although a certain somebody may or may not have sold themselves out because of money. In fact, as Bentley is walking to the back of his lab, he sees an old showcase of just a small amount of a few treasures that they collected over the years of them stealing and going around the world. He looks at an old picture of him, Sly, and Murray when they were still just kids. Then we transition into the gameplay with a younger Bentley and his perspective in the cookie heist. And then we jump from that point to their very first official heist. Like I said before in the previous video, Sly and the gang on their very first heist. They made a lot of mistakes, obvious mistakes, mistakes that only rookies would make. And yet, despite all the mistakes they made, they still managed to get what they came for and get out of there, which pretty much got their name on the map. We get to play a little bit from Bentley's perspective for the hack mission. Then we jump back to present day, and we see Bentley walking closer and closer to another old showcase with the very first thing they ever stole, and that was the heart of Anubis. He opens the showcase and picks up the very diamond that pretty much started it all. He looks closer at it and realizes something is different. The moment he sees that small inscription that Sly carved into it back in ancient Egypt, his mind and memory start to flash very quickly, as if things are changing. Next thing he knows, he realizes maybe something's not right. I might be able to figure out where Sly is. He walks over to the receptacle where the Thievius Raccoonus is being held. He picks up the book, and his memories start to flash quickly again. But this time, something was different. He heard a voice, as if it was telling him which page to turn to in the Thievius Raccoonus to find Sly. Little did he know that voice was steering them into the right direction. But just before he can figure out exactly where Sly is, Carmelita and the rest of the gang burst through his lab door, yelling, exclaiming, Bentley, I think you might want to see this. This is not good. This is terrible news. They all run and sit down near his desk. They cut on the television, crank up the volume to see that there's been a jailbreak. Every major villain that isn't MIA or dead has escaped, the Paradox included. But the only difference is the Paradox didn't go with the group that was pretty much mostly involved in the jailbreak. Although one of them looked oddly familiar, but she was wearing a gas mask. Carmelita and the rest of them deduced that it was Penelope who broke them all out. Bentley, very upset that they brought up Penelope's name, made a very, very, very annoyed and angry face. He just didn't say a word. He was just very upset. He turns around and walks right back into his lab and closes the door. Murray and the rest are just in shock and awe that after all this time, all the time that had passed with Sly being gone, none of them bothered to mention or even ask how Bentley felt. Because technically, Penelope was literally like his first girlfriend as far as we know. Having his heart shattered and everything. He eventually got over, but some feelings for her still linger a little. Carmelita asks everyone in the gang, what are we going to do about this? This time, they really are packing a lot of power this go around. Murray and the rest of the gang agree alongside Carmelita about it. Then we flash and jump forward on over to Penelope. We're then shown a huge room full of fancy tables and a huge spread of food all over these tables, hors d'oeuvres, all filled and covered with food only the extremely rich could probably afford. She walks out on her balcony, walks up on top of her staircase, and says, "Everyone eat and have your fill." She also tells her servants and her henchmen not to eat anything. While at the same time, people were a little weirded out because one of them actually recognized Penelope from the third game and realized that she looked a little different. She had black rings around her eyes, as almost as she was a zombie or something, or being possessed. She then announces that from now on, all of you work for me now. The majority of the villains just looked at her with such disgust and said, "Really?" And everyone began to laugh at how ridiculous of a comment that she made. She is then angry, bangs her fist up against the railing of the staircase. Mugshot walks up and speaks up and says, "Oh, really? Why should we listen to a runt like you?" And everyone is laughing in agreement. Even Sir Raleigh is in agreement with Mugshot and puts in his 2 cents. "And what the devil are you? It's like, what the devil are you going on about? You know, it's a sad day in hell. It's like a sad day in hell when the dumbest among us is making the most sense." Him referring to Mugshot. Mugshot overhears this. It says, "You got something to say, punk? I know we used to work together back then, but I have no problem taking out a little blowhard like you." Then Penelope looks over at all of them and says, "Stop fighting and arguing amongst yourselves. I meant what I said." And then they're all just still laughing. They're still skeptical and they're still laughing because, like, as far as they know, Penelope doesn't have anything over them to even convince or even keep them in line, as far as they know. But lo and behold, Penelope looks closer at the crowd, and notices one of her henchmen has picked up one of the hors d'oeuvres and has been eating 4, 5, 6. It's like 6 little mini sandwiches. She finally says, "You know what? Since you're not going to cooperate, I got something special to show for you all." She pulls out her tablet and pretty much let everyone know that everything you've consumed, everyone that has ever eaten and drinking any of this good food, it's all been contaminated with nanobots. Everyone begins to laugh at her again. "Nanobots? What are those going to do? What are those tiny little things going to do to my big hulking frame?" Everyone's still laughing, continuing to laugh. Penelope explains that, well, since I have nanobots inside of your stomach and everything, I can literally swipe left and you explode. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going Suicide Squad with this. Everyone is skeptical about what she just said. No one believes a word of what she just said. Impossible. She says, "You know what? How about I demonstrate?" She uses one of the little henchmen as a demonstration. She swipes left, and that henchman explodes. And basically cue the death animation with Sly 4. Poof. Money pops up out of nowhere. Penelope looks them all dead in the eye with a serious face and says, "Believe me now? Feel like cooperating now?" Everyone is in shock and awe after what she just did, which was pretty fucking dark. She killed one of her henchmen just to prove a point. just to try to have some sort of leverage over everyone. And she uses it to her advantage. She says, I have the antidote, but all of you have to do what I say. And if you play nice and cooperate, everything we're about to do, you get whatever land you end up in, that will be yours, basically. She explains her plan, while at the same time she tells them that they need to find these certain particular alloys and metals that she's looking for. She said, find those artifacts and everything for me, and the land that you get them from is all yours. She then takes a step back to make a huge speech. And says, who put you in jail? Cooper! They're all shouting in the crowd, Cooper! Destroy Cooper! They're all freaking out. They're all rooting and hooting and everything. Now that she realized she's got the crowd on her side, she turns around, walks through a door. Walks through a doorway. The door shut right behind her. She begins to monologue to herself a little bit about how easy it's gonna be to finish the Cooper gang out off for the last and final time, once and for all. But as she is walking and monologuing very little, she walks past the mirror, and her reflection shows a huge cat-shaped shadow possessing her. And for those of you wondering who it is, it's Neela. You're probably wondering, how did Penelope get possessed by Neela? I'll tell you how it happened next time. So basically that's when I'm going to end it off here. How about you guys let me know what you guys really think about this? Should I keep going with my writing, or should I just stop where I am and just give it up? Because, this is basically the Sly 5 plot I'm hoping we get to explain a few things. Well, now that I'm done with that, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.